Hello, this is Doug from HomesNOW, Not Later. I just wanted to do an update video to basically let you guys know where HomesNOW is at and how we're doing and some news, as well as I wanted to address some concerns. On the upside, on the plus side, Unity Village is doing great. Day-to-day operations run smoothly. There haven't been any police calls. The resident, it's stable down there. Everyone's, we're planting a lot of flowers so that it has a more festive atmosphere. We're repainting some of our stuff so that we, like our gray water container trailer. It used to have more of a graffiti look, but we're replacing it with more of like a nature and little cute houses on the hill look. We got our kitchen tent up. That's been great. It's a lot bigger. It's a lot nicer for storage of food and everything like that. Another piece of not horrible news, but a little bit of a delay is the owner of the warehouse that we were going to build the tiny homes in June. It looks like it's been pushed back to July, so we're going to be a little behind schedule on that exact part of it. But things are still moving forward and everything's looking good. Also, some good news too. HomesNOW now has legal counsel, so we wanted to thank Janisa Richardson for stepping up to do that, because we've needed that. We've needed legal counsel for a long time, and we didn't necessarily have the budget to pay for legal counsel, so for it to be done on a volunteer basis is really great, and we really appreciate it, and progress continues. HomesNOW, during COVID is kind of an interesting thing. HomesNOW from the beginning, we started in June of 2017, and HomesNOW was built on the foundation that there is an emergency taking place, built on the foundation that there is an emergency. So before a big emergency like COVID, we were not taken seriously. It was treated as if we were overblowing it or overthinking it or overemphasizing it, and that it wasn't really an emergency. The winter from this year and last year has proven that these emergencies are the case. The only reason why we feel them a little stronger in the winter is because of the elements, and people are literally more likely to die if they're out there in the winter, and they do die, and you see news stories about it, and we see it as an emergency. A lot of people in the community see it as an emergency. COVID has exacerbated the emergency that we already knew was occurring. Okay, so HomesNOW has been, this COVID thing has actually been a little vacation for HomesNOW, because we've already been built for this. So while everyone's freaking out, trying to figure out what to do, we've already been there. The people that live at Unity Village, our residents, have been homeless. They've already been out on the street. Well, what's happening now and what's going to be happening over the next couple months, and I can tell you with 90% certainty, I could be wrong, maybe I'm too negative, but I think that you're going to start to see a lot more people getting evicted and becoming homeless that were not previously homeless because of the economy. The economy is going to reopen back up. They're going to say you can evict people again. And you're going to have a lot of people who are behind on their bills. Right now, they're prevented from being evicted officially, because if they don't pay their bills, they won't get kicked out. But that doesn't actually prevent people from getting kicked out. A lot of people are kicked out, and if they want to protest it, they have to take it up in court or whatever. That takes time. A lot of court cases are shut down right now because of the COVID thing. So it's really not as cut and dry as it seems that people can't be kicked out. As they open up the country, as the emergencies are lifted, you're going to see a situation where the virus is done, but the economy doesn't just come snapping back. A lot of people will go out of business. A lot of people will remain unemployed. And this will go on for the foreseeable future, as far as the medium-term future in the next few years. And so what we are trying to do is we're trying to solve the problem, and we're trying to get ahead of the problem. Now, we're not the solution to every problem. We solve some problems. We run a tiny home community. and 18 people live there, and it's a stable situation. Now, if we didn't run that tiny home community, there would be 18 people on the streets right now. Now, now the land that we're on, what is it being used for? It's being used for our village, of course, but before the village was there, it was used for a parking lot or pretty much empty space right next to the sewer treatment plant. And HomesNOW, but from the city of Bellingham, was graciously allowed to use that spot to house 18 people. Or we have capacity for 20. Right now, we're kind of on hold because of COVID, but we have 18 people that live there right now. Basically, the last thing I wanted to bring up, which is why I'm saying this, is that at the Homeless Strategies Work Group, which is a meeting that happens every other week, or it did happen every other week. There was a little hiatus though after COVID started, and it used to be something you went to in person, but now it's done over Zoom meetings. And it's a body set up by the Whatcom County government to address homeless issues, Homeless Strategies Work Group. And included in that work group is Marcus, vice chair of HomesNOW, as well as various heads of government and local leaders in government and council members and stuff like that. So the mayor of Bellingham is there present sometimes. Some of the council members, Dan Hammil and Michael Lilliquist, are there as well. But I wanted to bring this up. I wanted to make this video because I recently saw the last Homeless Strategies Work Group meeting. It was yesterday, Friday, May 29th. And I tried to join the meeting, but I guess there's something where you have to do an invite system or a registration system. I registered, but I couldn't get in, so I had to watch the video later. But Dan Hammil, a sitting Bellingham City Council member, made 16 claims about HomesNOW and our residents at the Homeless Strategies Work Group meeting. He said he was sick about hearing about HomesNOW, and I just wanted to show you what he said. Here's the clip of what Dan Hammil, your city council member of Bellingham, said about HomesNOW and Unity Village.
Is again, the stability that you give to people, the people are they're able to lock their doors and have their own security, go get a job, go apply for jobs. We bring them services like help them get their license, help them get all their paperwork in order, help them apply for apartments and everything. So we could be doing that on that level as a government by this winter. And I think it's a worthy goal. We have a real problem, and I want to fix it, and I think we can. I honestly think we can. Thank you.
Other ideas?
Councilmember Hamill has his hand raised.
Yeah, go ahead, Dan.
Thanks, Barry. Appreciate it. I'm kind of getting tired of listening to the same conversation over and over again about HomesNOW or a tiny village being the solution for everything that we have. It simply is not scalable. It doesn't work for people who cannot remain sober. It doesn't work for domestic violence people who are fleeing their abusers. It doesn't work for unaccompanied youth. There's so many reasons that it doesn't work for the general population. While it's great that it works for 18 people, that's awesome. We've got probably 1,000 people that are experiencing homelessness in Whatcom County. But to trot out this idea that this is going to be the end-all be-all solution is simply not practical. The reason that organization exists is because it's over-leveraged on free stuff. It gets free volunteers. It gets free land that the city has donated to that organization. It gets free products that, or to some degree, that I know that there's been, they paid to build some of the houses, but the food deliveries and all that stuff, it's over-leveraged on free materials. And to me, that's not a sustainable model. I don't care if it's a low-cost option. That's not really that doesn't factor into my thinking. What factors into my thinking is how do we deal with folks and make sure that they get the care and the treatment that they need and the stability so they can then gain housing and be long-term housed. That's the solution that we're talking about. That's the COVID solution that we're supposed to be talking about here. And I'd like to make sure that that's what we're focused on. And also like to let staff do their own work, and for bloviating politicians like myself to stay out of it. Thanks.
Okay, so I just wanted to go into each of the claims that he made about our organization and the people that live at Unity Village. I know there's 16 of them, but I'm gonna just start and go one at a time because I want to address any if there's any misunderstandings or whatever. I wanted to address them directly, and that way everyone knows. Okay, we're all about transparency. So what you know is what we know, and we try to make sure to clear the record if there's anything that's not correct. Okay, so Hammil made a claim. Dan Hammil made a claim. The first claim he made was that a tiny village solution, that we were saying that tiny villages were the solution to every problem in regards to homelessness. That no matter what the situation, that the answer is always a tiny home village. That is not true. We know that HomesNOW is just fulfilling a niche. Tiny home villages do help. They are good. They do get people off the streets. Now, I'm not saying that the 1,000 people in Bellingham at all should all be serviced by tiny home villages, but maybe a few hundred of them could be. You know, it doesn't have to be black and white. You know, you don't. It's not like you choose one choice or the other. You build those long-term apartments. You build domestic violence shelters. You build normal homeless shelters. And at the same time that you're doing the other three things, you allow for tiny home communities to exist. So the way that I would describe it, and the way that I think all you guys should think about this, is that it all adds up, right? So like, we're not the saviors, okay? HomesNOW is not the Messiah, okay? We're not going to save everyone. We're not going to have the solution to every single problem. But you know what? We're helping. And certain people that try to stop people from helping other people just need to get out of the way, right? So in this case, Dan Hammil just needs to get out of the way because he's not helping the situation. He's telling us we need to not do any tiny home villages and instead do whatever his prescription is or whatever his philosophy is in his head. As far as, but we can't do both, right? You can't do what he thinks is best and a tiny home village. You got to do one or the other, right? I don't agree with that. And I think that if you think about it like this, there's land everywhere. If you drive around, sure, you can get into who owns it and who doesn't, but the space exists for setting up multiple villages. And again, if we have 1,000 homeless in Bellingham, I think we have more, but like that's the official number roughly. Is, you know, we house 20 people, so, or 8, we have capacity to house 20 people. So what if you set up 5 villages? That's 100. That's 100 people. And then that is 1/10 of the problem solved. 10% of the people that were homeless will be not homeless anymore. And so this is a number, this is a believable number that you could tick off. And sure, you have different types of housing, but let's say that we did say that tiny home villages were the only solution to everything. Well, you could still make a pretty big dent in it. All you need is empty land that's not being used for anything. Maybe a lease agreement with the owner, maybe some kind of like benefit to them for letting their empty land be used for something. I know a lot of people own land and they just sit on it and don't do anything with it. We all we're asking for is to let us solve a problem and house people when the land isn't being used for anything. Claim number 2. He said that tiny home living and a tiny home community does not work for people who cannot remain sober. Now, I mean, this is an obvious falsehood. This is, I don't know whether it was an intentional lie or whether Councilmember Hammil was just uninformed. But Unity Village, as well as HomesNOW, with people that live there, have a drug and alcohol free rules in our handbook that Unity Village is drug and alcohol free. Now, that doesn't include like if someone were to, let's say it's pre-COVID, right? That doesn't include if like someone went to the bar and had like a couple beers or something. But the alcohol and drugs are not able to be, or are not allowed to be present on site. And but there is an exception for a few things, notably marijuana. which is legal, and it's medical marijuana, and basically people that have that need are able to use marijuana, and people that are using marijuana aren't causing any problems or concerns or anything like that. And I don't know if Dan Hamill's used marijuana. It's legal. You can get it at any store. Alcohol is legal too. Now, we don't allow alcohol on site because on average, a lot of people have issues with it, or if they're an alcoholic, they'll be uncomfortable if someone's drinking around them or whatever. And of course, that's part of our permit with the city, that we're not allowed to have people drinking alcohol there, which I think that's okay. I think that's a good policy. But I would want to stress the point that we need to treat people as equals. The reason why we've had such a stable situation at Unity Village and why we've had so few problems and so few police calls is because we treat people like equals, okay? I treat every resident as if they are equal to me, okay? A board member or at least a manager or somebody that's at an equal level to me. The fact that they're homeless doesn't matter. I see it as mostly an income situation. The rent is too high, the bills and the rent are too high, and the pay is too low. We all know this. You know people that are on SSI, you know people that are on disability, you know people that work jobs, right? It doesn't pay enough. It doesn't pay enough, and the rent is way too high, and that's universally the case. But I just wanted to clear that up because there haven't been problems with people at Unity Village with drugs and stuff. We do enforce that policy, though. I will tell you, though, we do enforce that policy based on behavior. So if people are causing problems, or they're obviously stumbling and drunk, or they are yelling at people and are being irrational and stuff, we do consider the possibility that when that happens, it might be drug related. But unless that's happening, we're not going to go randomly search their homes. We're not going to randomly give them a drug test when they're acting fine. And our main metric is don't cause any problems, make progress, and we don't have to make this weird, right? That's basically how I think of it. And I just want to let Hammil know that he's wrong if he thinks that it doesn't work for people who can remain sober. Many of our residents are sober. What I have the biggest problem with is how he's saying that you're all the same. He's saying that every person that's in a tiny home village can't remain sober. I mean, come on, dude, really? You're treating, this is what I mean by treating people like equals. This is an example of a sitting city council member that treats homeless individuals as less than him. That treats them like they're on a lower level and that they're all drug addicts or they're all mentally ill or whatever. And it has to stop. This is the reason why you see problems, is because people treat other people with disrespect like this. And when they're just trying to get their shit together and get back to a normal life. And it doesn't help them when you put them all in the same box and you treat people that are fine like they're losers, and you treat everyone exactly the same. And it has to stop, and I just wanted to clear that up. It's false, that claim that he made. Number 3, he said that it's not scalable. That's not true. It's scalable to a point. Sure, you're not going to be able to build a skyscraper and house 52,000 people in it, but we live in a non-high density area. You know, Bellingham isn't that dense. I would agree with Hammil for sure if we were living in New York City or LA or something. But this is Bellingham, and he even said himself that there's around 1,000 homeless people. So I don't know, 18 people times a certain number equals 1,000, and it's really not that many villages that you'd have to build to make a dent in the problem. Now, I can see if there's conflicts of interest, though. Maybe there's conflicts of interest. I can understand, like, if you built villages, why that would hurt you if, like, you're involved in if you're a landlord or you're involved in property development or whatever. Because if you just have places where people can live affordably and cheaply through emergency housing or through any other means, you're going to make less money on your piggy bank or your investment. And so you have an active interest in perhaps stopping someone from providing a service for low cost, because those people would normally be paying out the ass to help your own business if you were involved in something like that. I don't know if Hammil is or not. I'm just saying that there's no reason to be so negative or harsh about what we're doing. The other fourth claim he made was, he said it doesn't work for domestic violence and people fleeing their abusers. Actually, it does. It doesn't work for everyone that's fleeing their abusers. Again, don't treat them all the same. You have, every single individual is different. Every person is different. So to say that it doesn't work, period, for that is wrong. We actually have around 10% or 12% of our residents that we've ever taken in that were fleeing domestic violence, and so it worked for them. It helped that 12% of our audience, or our residents, our people that we service. It helped 12% of them flee their abusers. Okay, so that's not correct. His fifth claim was that it doesn't work for unaccompanied youth. You got us there. Unity Village isn't for unaccompanied children. Okay. It's mostly people that are adults, or it is people that are all adults, and it's a mix. So you got younger, older, women, men, vets, non-vets. It's a mix, and so yeah, we don't have unaccompanied youth staying at Unity Village. He's right about that claim. Number 6, he said that it doesn't work for the general population. It only works for 18 people. Well, you know, those 18 people are part of the general population, Dan. So, and by the way, we don't segregate, okay? So at Unity Village, it's a mix, as I just said. So if you've got younger people, older people, women, men, vets, non-vets, and anyone in between, really. And so that is more reflective of the overall community than a segregated program. So let's say you set up a segregated program and you were really trying to help vets out, okay? Well, you set up a tiny home community that's helping all vets. That's not the general population. If you're setting up a battered women's shelter to help people fleeing their abusers, that's not the general population. Not everybody gets beat up by their significant other. And all I'm saying is that these 18 people really are part of the general population. So 18 out of the total number have been helped. So what you're suggesting is that we don't do it at all because it doesn't help a high enough number of people in the short term, which is not the way to look at it. It all adds up, right? If you had 5 villages, that's 100 people. If you had 50, then that's a lot more, right? And so all I'm saying is that it don't look at it so narrow focused. Like don't look at it like you've got like a telescope on, or it's actually a big picture thing, and it all adds up, right? So yeah, as soon as you can get those apartments online or whatever you think is the best solution, get it online first, okay? Please get it online. Please get people housed. We want everyone to be housed. We don't even need to be in business if everyone is housed. Please do it. Please work toward that. And once it's done, once it's complete, then maybe you can tell us that a village is not enough people to help. Okay, but until that point, until you've gotten it online, we provide emergency housing, and we're going to continue to do that. And as long as we're doing that, and we're not hurting anybody, you just need to get out of the way, dude. Like, just get out of the way and stay quiet, like, for real. Number 7, the 7th claim that he made was that the reason our organization exists is because it's over-leveraged on free stuff. Now, I don't know what he means by that. I don't know over-leveraged. Like, usually when you're over-leveraged, it pertains to something when you, say, spent too much money that you didn't have or something like that, so you've, like, over leveraged by, like, let's say that we like went into massive debt and like bought like 5 properties at once. We'd be over leveraged on debt, right? But when people give us free stuff, or they give donations of stuff, either money or goods that are needed, that is what they choose to do as a volunteer, as a member of the community. They choose to give. They choose to donate. So what I describe this as, you call it being over leveraged on free stuff. What I call it is working smart rather than working hard. If you want to work hard, what you do instead is you pay everyone, you figure out a way to get a huge income stream, and you waste a ton of money on stuff that you could have gotten for free. And so it's actually that we've leveraged free stuff to get things done at a very, very low price that you would normally be paying thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars for, because people willingly gave it for free, and we used it to good purpose and got the goal done and got it accomplished. And so that's not a weakness, Dan. That's a strength. Okay, I just want to let you know that and address that claim that you made. His 8th claim was that HomesNOW only exists because it gets free volunteers. Yep, that's it, Dan. That's what volunteering is. You believe in something, or you believe in a goal, and then you help them. You help them build it. Okay. So the reason why we have free volunteers is because they believe in what we're doing and they're helping us. So, that again, I go back to my previous statement. That's not a weakness, Dan. That's a strength. Okay. The fact that people show up and aren't paid to do it and they want to help is a strength, not a weakness. He also said, claim number 9, that our organization only exists because it gets free land that the city has donated to our organization. Well, that's not true, Dan. The city has allowed us to use land, but it's their land. They didn't donate the land to us. They donated the use of the land. We would love if the city said, hey, you can have the land right next to the sewer treatment plant to do your village. But that's not allowed, and we can only do a temporary shelter for 2 years, according to the ordinance that allows for us to do this. The land wasn't being used for much before, maybe a parking lot for an extra portable building right next to the sewer treatment plant. I think to house 18 people, that's a worthy sacrifice of the city, and we appreciate that they've worked with us to do that. And you're treating us like we're a burden, like we've hurt the community by housing people, and through no money of your own, you haven't had to pay for us doing this, and the taxpayers haven't had to pay. Sometimes there actually has been a small amount of taxpayer dollars that didn't go to us directly, but like in order for the city to like put an electrical line in, or to put a water line in, sometimes they've had to spend a few $1,000s to set up that line. But other than that, we don't take taxpayer dollars, and yeah, the land was not donated to us, but the use of the land was. That's called a lease. And Hammil made a 10th claim saying that we get free products and food deliveries. Okay, so food deliveries, let me tell you what those are. Okay, so every Sunday I've decided that I will cook the community meal. I cook it from scratch. To cook for 20 people is not like light, really. So like it takes up like a good portion of my day. It takes up a few hours of my day every Sunday to cook a community meal for everyone at the village. We have other volunteers and other members of the community that contact us out of the blue, and they ask if we would be okay with them making a meal for us and bringing it down and sharing it. And we say yes. We don't, as an organization, we don't like pay a company to bring like food delivery trucks and shit. All of our residents have food stamps, or they have money to pay for their own food, and we will sometimes get community food as like extra food, like an extra, like, hey, we got extra food. We're not all hard scrabble today. Okay, that's great. And you know, when you go into like, let's say you go to a meeting or you go to a public event and there's free coffee on the table. Wow, it's really nice to get a cup of coffee, right? Do you feel guilt that you poured that cup of coffee for yourself for free at that event? No, you don't. It was offered to you for free, and you took it. And if someone offers us food for free, we'll take it. And it doesn't matter whether you're homeless or you're housed. It doesn't matter whether you're a resident of Unity Village or you live up in Fairhaven, in one of the bigger houses. It's the same exact thing. And if a friend came over and brought food to eat at your house, you'd share it with them. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, I go back to my original statement about treating people exactly the same. You shouldn't treat everyone like one person. You shouldn't treat everyone who's homeless like they're the worst of the worst, because they're not. Most of them aren't. You've got a few troublemakers, but they're in the vast minority, not the majority. The 11th claim that he made was that it's over-leveraged, that we're over-leveraged as an organization on free materials. Again, this isn't over-leveraged. Someone gives us free 2x4s and we start building with them. Okay, I'm sorry. Are we expected to pay for everything, every single thing? When someone's offering for free, if someone gives us a free door, we use the door? Sorry, we can't take that door because we're over-leveraged on free supplies right now. I mean, come on, dude. Number 12, it's not a sustainable model. Okay, this claim is very laughable, Dan. It is a sustainable model. HomesNOW does rely somewhat on donations from the general public to make progress and to build more and do more than what we're able to do right now. But the residents of Unity Village pay. They pay utilities. Now, we don't make money off of their utility payments, but Unity Village is not very expensive to run on a month-to-month basis. It's around $1,500 a month. It's around $1,800 a month in the winter because of electric heating, and it's around $1,200 a month in the summer because the heaters aren't on. And so I don't know about you, but living in a normal house, like if you're paying rent for one apartment, it costs about that much. Okay, so if it can help 20 people for the same cost as what one apartment does, then yeah, it's actually more sustainable than a normal apartment. Even though there's problems related to, everyone would like to have their own place. They'd like to have multiple bedrooms. They'd like to have a living room. They'd like to have more closet space. Everyone would like that. I would like it too. But what I'm saying is if you're trying, you can't say that it's not sustainable though, because it is. And as long as everyone has a little bit of income to contribute, so we got 20 people, right? So that means that for us to completely cover our costs 100%, each resident has to come up with around $100 a month. And that will completely cover our costs and it will be sustainable. And so that is not true. What I think is unsustainable, rather than what we're doing, is charging people money for rent, increasing the rent more and more and more every year, realizing that no one's getting paid more, no one's getting a better job, no one's getting more benefits, and you just keep raising the price, and then you're like, well, I gotta make money, so I'm just gonna keep raising the price. That's not sustainable. That's like the least sustainable thing you could do. I know it might make some people a lot of money. I know that if you're in that position, you want to make money and you want to benefit from that, but that's not actually sustainable. It might be sustainable for just you or just your friends, but it's not going to be sustainable for everyone. And so it's not going to be sustainable for people that are low income. So that is an incorrect statement for Dan to make. Claim number 13 was that it's a low-cost option. That we've constantly mentioned that tiny home villages are a low-cost option, and I just told you how little it actually costs after you've actually built the houses, and minusing the fact of the land costs of outright buying land. But he said that just because it's a low-cost option, that doesn't factor into his thinking at all, and that he doesn't care. You've just watched the video. He said it himself. He said it directly. You can hear it. I'm not making anything up. That's why I wanted to play the video so that you could see directly what he said instead of me just talking about it. Even though I'm talking about it and responding to it, but he actually did say it. And And yeah, I think that's part of the problem, Dan. I think the reason why, especially during COVID, especially when budgets are going to be really tight, especially as more people are going to get evicted. I don't know about you, but if I was a council member and I was voting on policies to solve this problem when we're having budget shortfalls and not going to be able to cover all the costs of whatever master plan we've got going on in the next 10 years, yeah, I'm going to look for organizations, I'm going to look for people, I'm going to look for groups that are going to be willing to provide low-cost options to get people housed, so we don't have a whole bunch of fucking Hoovervilles right out front of City Hall or every government building, and so we can get ahead of this problem and help our community, okay? And so, I'm sorry that low-cost options don't factor into your mindset, but they should. Yeah, I'm saying that's an incorrect mindset, and that you should look at low-cost options to solve problems. And again, it all adds up. We're not solving every problem. You don't give us the keys and say solve every problem related to homelessness. You just recognize what we're good at, recognize how we're helping, and you let us help where we can help. And another organization like the Mission or the Opportunity Council, if they want to help in a different way, then you should let them help too in a different way, and it will all add up to everyone being housed, and you won't be tripping on people over the street when you walk through downtown. He also made the claim, number 14, that his concern on how to deal with folks and get them into the treatment they need. So again, this goes back to what I was saying in an earlier statement. He's treating everyone the same. So he thinks that because you're homeless, that you're automatically needing drug treatment, and that you're automatically that they are going to have to deal with it. Well, no, like, they don't have to deal with it if you let us deal with it, and you make some very basic provisions that allow for us to get people housed. Okay, it's not just us. There's other groups trying to do it too. Just let the community help. Let the community help house people. There's no reason to get in the way. There's no reason to stop people from helping other people because you disagree on what one or two things should be done to help them. You know, that's all I can really say. And don't treat people the same. Treat them as equals. Treat them like another council member, Dan. And you're going to run into way fewer problems if you do. Just saying. The 15th claim, we're almost done, is that Dan Hammil is not a believer of the housing first model. So he mentioned that people that are homeless have to gain stability before that they're fit for housing, and I disagree. I totally agree with the housing first model. You get people housed first, and then they begin to stabilize. If you're gonna tell someone to stabilize when they don't have a stable spot to call their own, they don't have their own room, they don't have a place to store their stuff, then you're wasting your time and you're wasting your money, and it's never going to be solved. You get people housed first, and that's why we're focusing on a low-cost option, like what we said. I know it doesn't factor into your thinking, but when you have a low-cost option to give everyone their own space, they begin to stabilize, and that's why you get way fewer problems. You get way fewer police calls. You get a reduction in crime in the surrounding neighborhood. Chief Dahl has made this claim that crime has gone down in the surrounding neighborhood wherever these villages have been present that HomesNOW has hosted, and that there hasn't been a single police call from Unity Village. And so if we had if we had residents or people that needed very serious treatment, they wouldn't be able to live there. They'd be causing issues. There would be issues that it would destabilize things with other residents. So what I'm saying is that we actually can't deal with the extreme trouble cases. We can mostly provide the housing and the emergency stuff like that, and then we can link people up and try to help them with what they need. But no, we actually aren't equipped to deal with like full drug treatment and stuff like that. There's other facilities for that, and there's not enough of them. If you're gonna maybe change policy in a better direction like that, maybe you should help open facilities that do that and help people get drug treatment if they need it. But the people that live at Unity Village are fine, and they don't need that treatment. At least not as far as I've seen. And if they do, and they come to us and they say, I need drug treatment, we'll help them. We'll help them find it. That hasn't been the issue, but there hasn't been any major problems. So I just think that statement's overblown. Number 16, the last statement. He said that he wants politicians like himself to stay out of it. Yeah, I agree. Stay out of it. Actually, get involved, though, if you want to. Get involved if you want to help. But if you're going to just like try to stop other people and other organizations from helping other people, then yeah, just stay out of it. Just stay quiet and let other people solve it. And you can go back to doing what you're doing. This video isn't meant to be negative. It's just that I felt like I had to respond. Okay, I felt like there were so many claims, and I would say that 15 out of 16 of his claims were false. And so it was so lopsided in one direction as being false that I had to say something. Normally I can just let it go and move on and just, but this time I couldn't. And yeah, the only claim that Hamill made in that video that was true was that we don't work for unaccompanied youth, which at this time that's true. But maybe you could make a village for unaccompanied youth. We aren't ready to take that on yet, but it's possible. It's possible to do it. But that we don't currently do that now. No. But anyway, this isn't meant to be negative. It's meant to put a spotlight on false claims. This is a sitting city council member. When they make false claims, it could actually come back to bite us. And we have to respond when false claims have been made about our organizations and the people that live at our village. And I don't know where Dan got his facts. He needs to double check his facts. He never talked to us. He never asked us or verified anything that he said. He just said he was sick of hearing about us, which, okay, that's fine. But I just hope that when he's voting and he's passing laws that we have to live under, that he double checks his facts. If he's not checking his facts about this and about what our organization is doing, then I just hope he's checking his facts in other areas too. So I don't know. I guess this could just be a learning experience, Dan, and we can try to move on. And I just hope you'll help make the problem better, and as a council member work to help people that are homeless get housed and move on. Like we got to make progress. We got to move on. We got to get people housed so people can get back to their lives. And we can have fun and live the good life. And just don't try to stop people from living a good life. Okay. It doesn't hurt you to let other people have a good life. Okay. So anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I've probably run on a little too long in this video, but anyway, just wanted to clear things up and let you know that HomesNOW is moving great. We're above and beyond and moving into the future, and we're ready to, if the city came to us or anyone came to us and said set up an encampment, we're willing to do it. We're willing to put a dent in this problem. We know it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. We're willing to do it if we are given the chance, and we've proven it. We've proven that our model works. And no, it's not the solution to every single problem, but it's definitely not bad. It definitely makes a dent in it. Definitely is useful. Definitely can be used in a lot of places. So I hope you'll consider this, and I hope Dan will consider this, and that we can make progress. So anyway, take it easy. Have a great weekend. Good luck.